Welcome to the show. My guest tonight, Kayla-Rae. Thanks for coming.
Hi.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my favorite question. Thanks for asking. I'm Kayla-Rae. I'm owner of Be Wild Marketing and House of Wild. I love my dog Cooper. We had to throw that in there.
Shout out Cooper.
Shout out Cooper. And yeah, let's get wild. Let's get into it.
How did modeling first enter your life? Let's start there.
Yeah, I was 21 and I had an ex who modeled and his friends modeled and they were like, have you ever considered doing this? And I was like, no, I'm 5'4". And then I think as a teenager, young adult, and post-secondary, I watched a lot of the Victoria's Secret fashion shows. And you're so enamored by that. You're like, wow, I want that to be me one day. So that's kind of how it came into my life. You have like your fantasy, and then you have the realistic aspect of it. And I got asked to model with that group of people. And I was not confident. I did not want to do it. I was like, me, I could never.
What did you think the industry was before everything you know now, before you got into it?
Great question. I thought it was a lot about perfection. I thought you had to be a certain body shape, a certain body weight. You had to look a certain way. That was really hard, I think. I didn't think I was good enough to model. I think you assume you have to be really tall as well. And you do internationally. But here in the market that we have in Calgary, it's more commercial and lifestyle. So
I don't know a lot about modeling personally.
Okay.
So here we go.
You want to get into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
When was the moment you realized that there was more going on behind the scenes?
With modeling?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I started modeling, I really didn't like it at all. I was a deer in the headlights. I think, it came back to that confidence that I just didn't have, which also was the reason why I did it. I think that if you're not confident or something, or you want to feel a certain way, you should probably do it. That's a challenge that you should take. And when I got involved, I did not know how to move in front of a camera. I did not know how to pose. Like, you kind of awkwardly are like,
what do I do with my hands?
Yeah. Like, and you just don't know. You don't know how to move with it and feel confident with it. And your lips will start to quiver and your cheeks will like get sore. And it all just feels so unnatural. To some, it feels really natural. To me, nothing at all. So I didn't model for 6 months into my contract that I had. And they called me and they're like, would you like to get involved in a fashion show and start to do some marketing? And I was like, I'm a bossy girl. I can do that. I can get involved. I can organize. I can plan. That sounded really fun. So I got involved in that. And then I started getting involved with models themselves and why they were doing it, what they wanted out of it. And I got offered a job at the modeling agency that I was modeling for. And that was risky because I was in marketing in land development and home building. And I took this wild risk to leave. And they sent me to New York immediately. And so I went to New York and I stayed at this massive house in New York. I had just planned this fashion show. I had just marketed it. And that's when I think I realized there was so much more to modeling than just being a model in front of the camera. There's agents, there's development, portfolios, photographers, makeup artists. There's the souls that are behind the modeling. And then when I was in New York City, I met even more photographers and even more models. And I just had the coolest experience when I was in New York City. And that's what really started me getting involved in modeling.
Did you always think like an operator more than talent?
Yeah.
Was there something that pushed you to build inside of the system instead of just participate in it?
I say this, and I want to be really delicate because I don't want to like upset any models when I say this, but models are the most insecure people you'll ever meet. They lack a lot of confidence, and a lot of reason why people start modeling isn't actually because they think they're the hottest person or, you know, they're going to be the next Kendall Jenner. They're actually looking for something. So they're looking for acceptance. They're looking for a network. They're looking for an experience. They're looking to gain confidence like me. So when you start getting involved in people's lives, and a lot of the models I was working with at the time was 15, 16, you really want to be that first step in their life where they feel supported, where you can build them up. Modeling has this really bad narrative that it will tear you down, that it has to be negative. That's what parents worry about too when you're getting involved in modeling. So when I saw that and I was a part of growing people up and building them up and building that confidence, and you give them the coolest experiences. To see somebody at the very beginning of a shoot and like they're unsure and they're nervous, within an hour when you coach them right and you build them up right, it's night and day. Like you take one shot to take care. Imagine now what you can do over a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. When you watch people grow and build, that is so beautiful. That's when I was like, oh, this is special. This is unique. Not a lot of people do this. And that's what I really loved about working inside modeling.
Yeah. Was there something that you learned on the talent side that you wouldn't have been able to understand otherwise?
Oh, yeah. I'm really happy that I've worked both as a model. So the experience that I had when I felt like a deer in the headlights and I didn't feel confident about myself and I didn't feel good enough as a model myself, I really wanted to give a different experience to other models. And I think even just when you have a model on set with you and they see you and they're like, oh, you look so good in front of the camera and you feel so confident, you're so successful. And it's like, oh, it did not start that way, actually. So come to my level, I understand you. And I've noticed that that has been really important with the models that we have and the models that we work with, is just letting them know we're all human. It's all good. It's all fine. It's okay if you do come out and you think you're the hottest person ever and you're like, boom, bam, boom, bam. Like, great. Love that. And I love that for them. They're like little superstars. But I really love working with models because I understand that. And then from the agency perspective, I was traveling around from Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, New York City, Calgary, Edmonton, Kelowna. I was traveling in these markets and I realized what I would want to do in an agency and what I wouldn't want to do in an agency, because I was in the rooms with Ford and Elite, and I could see the way that these top agencies who have Kendall Jenner signed were doing things. And then I could hear the complaints of the models and what they were not getting, what they were experiencing, what they would want from an agency. And I think without that experience of it all together, I wouldn't have been able to know how to build House of Wild and support people. One, on the business side, clients. Clients are important. So clients and modeling. So it all kind of came together.
Which one did you start first, by the way?
Marketing.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, the marketing agency. I like to say that I have a 7-year-old and now a 3-year-old. Yeah. And the first one was breezy. Be Wild Marketing's been so great and it's a great role model. And then House of Wild is like my 2-year-old. It was in the terrible twos and it was kicking and screaming. And you're like, oh my God, will this ever end?
When you first became responsible for the outcomes, transitioning out of just being a cog in the machine to being in charge.
Now you're responsible?
Yeah. What were the first standards you wanted to set for your people?
Mm-hmm. I never wanted to look at anybody as just money. I never wanted to build a marketing agency to just make money, to look at clients as like, oh, another contract, another thing, or sign another model just to have a model on the roster. Everything that we do at either of the businesses is because there's a very high level of care and we're responsible for that. So for models, just say that, even from that, we're responsible for their first step in this industry, their first experience, building them up. That you're responsible for a lot of that. And we don't take that for granted. We don't take that very lightly. Same thing on the business side of that. If you have trusted me to do your marketing, you've trusted me to do your website, you trust me to do your social, that's important because it's not just money. It's building up clients, it's building up businesses, it's building up what they want out of themselves. And same thing for modeling. So it's about leading with intention and it's about leading with care and it's about wanting more for them the same way you would want for yourself.
Did anything change about how you evaluated people when your name was attached to it?
Great question. No.
Okay. Just wondering. What about opportunity? Do people misunderstand often how opportunity works?
Oh my gosh, I don't want to be so negative. How do I say this without being negative? I find the younger generation of models think that they do one photo shoot And that's going to be it. They're the biggest star. They have a little bit of entitlement to them. They don't have a lot of grit to them. And I need them to get a little more gritty. I need them to dig in. I need them to work for it. So when it comes to opportunities, yes, our role as an agency and as an agent is to put them in front of the opportunities. But when you look at a model, they have something called a portfolio book. And that portfolio book is their resume. Now, do you land every single job because you've done one job or you've done one photo shoot? What do you think?
No.
Of course not. So you have to build up skills. And there's something about modeling where this entitlement comes in where they don't understand that and they get really frustrated. And I think because modeling is mainly based off of your looks, your body, and they find that really difficult. But our job, yes, is to get them opportunities, but their job is to work for that. So you could pick up a guitar, right? This is where it gets a little bit easier for people to digest. Do you pick up a guitar and then you're booking stadiums? No. Did you invest in your lessons? Did you practice? Did you watch YouTube videos? Did you play some garage band shows? Did you book in for a random bar that you probably paid for because you had to print off your posters? Right? Like if you really want something, you're going to put the work into it. You're going to put the effort into it and you have to prove yourself. But I don't know what it is about modeling. Models seem to just think like it's a one shot done. I did my one shoot and now like Nike should hire me. And it's like, it's not like that at all.
Do you think it's partially because of like TikTok and how people see other people they know maybe going viral easier?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when I first started modeling, social media was a thing, but not in the way that it is now. And I think you had a question here eventually about how the industry has changed with modeling.
Yeah.
So do you want me to just kind of
jump
into this now?
Let's talk about it.
Is that cool?
We can do whatever you want.
Okay. Because
wait, how's the industry changed since you got into it?
Okay. So the industry had already changed by the time I got into it. So first of all, me being 5'4" in modeling is a little bit unheard of, which is why I know everybody can do it. We're very lucky to be in this commercial lifestyle environment within Calgary. It's very different if you're in New York, if you're in Paris, if you go international and you're on those runways, you have to be like 5'11", very skinny. Here, though, I find the best market to actually model in because you get your Travel Albertas, you get your sport checks, and they want real life people. So that's kind of changed in the industry a little bit, that you can be all shapes, sizes, heights. It's all beautiful. And I absolutely love that because it gives opportunities to a lot of people. So that's changed. When I was an agent and I was traveling across Canada and the States for it, social media had just started, the influencer had just started picking up. And that was hard because then agencies were like, what's our role in this now? If they can go and they can book their own work or they can get their own deals, why would they pay an agency a commission to manage them? And so for a while, about a year or two, it was like, ooh, like, what do we do here? Like, what's our role here? Where do we figure it out? And it was really good. And I think you're right. You tapped on something that people think that there's immediate gratification and they can be seen or they can get impressions or they can get reach. And that's great for brand deals. There's definitely a certain component of that that's amazing for that. And modeling actually is a little bit different. You're not going to see your Under Armours or your Nikes or your sport checks reaching out to like influencers to book them. It's just too much of a management. So normally in modeling, what you have is you'll have your sport checks. They'll go down to a production company. The production companies will go down to a modeling agency. They also don't have the time to be going into people's individual Instagrams being like, hey, do you think maybe you would want to model for this? There's a whole process that goes along with it. So production companies will come down to the modeling agency and they'll say, we're looking for A, B, and C. And we go out to our roster and we go out to the A's and the B's and the C's and we see who's available. We put an entire package together and that package then goes back up to the production house, goes from the production house up to the client. The client then picks what models they want. It goes back down to production, goes back down to us, goes back from us down to the models confirm, and it goes back up. So it's like going boop, 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 boop. So big clients don't necessarily want to have to. Could you imagine doing that with 20 individual people?
Not possible.
They don't want to do that. They don't have time to do that. So for us, that's where, and also influencers, no offense sometimes, not an insult to influencers. I really don't want to get like eaten alive here. They don't know how to show up. They don't know how to show up prepared. Who keeps them accountable? Also for influencers, do you know how to negotiate your rate? Do you know how to sign your releases? Do you know what a buyout is? Do you know what a usage term is? No, why would you? Why do you want to deal with that? That's why you pay an agency to manage that and do that for you. And that's what the clients also really love. You think Chanel's going into people's Instagrams being like, hey, so Saturday at 10 a.m., do you think they... No, of course they're not doing that. So that's the role of an agency. And that's how it has changed, is that there was that influx of the influencers that was really hard for a year or two. And now that's kind of shifted. And then just like the inclusivity of it all, that's been really beautiful. And I love that.
You have a really unique perspective having the two companies. Can you tell me where they intersect and where they are completely different?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they only intersect probably for one, which is creative, like when you're doing content. So the marketing agency, we do Google ads, we do Facebook ads, we build websites, we, do content planning, we do social media. None of that involves House of Wild at all. Until, what do you have in your ads? What do you have for your social media? So where we have integrated very nicely is that when we, for our clients, have to do content shooting, we do a lot of new homes, we do a lot of new communities, we will use our own models in that production set. And it's been really helpful for me to have teams of photographers, videographers. And I wouldn't have those connections if I actually hadn't started modeling myself. I work with amazing production companies here in Calgary. And also like when I go to Toronto or when I go to Kelowna, I have these little connections everywhere that has been really good for modeling. And that's where we intersect a little bit. So you need the content for the ads. You need it for the social media. House of Wild, Be Wild uses House of Wild models exclusively.
How do things change on a project when you have brand and models in the same thing? When
it's my client with my models, I get harder. It is a lot of pressure because why clients love working with us is it almost is a one-stop shop, but there is no one else to blame. It all falls down onto me, right? Because it's the teams that I trust. It's the models that I trust. So if they don't like that outcome, that can be really hard on me, which has never happened, knock on wood. So it just, the stakes are a little bit higher, right? You're responsible for it, but I actually like it. I really love having full control of it. And I go on set. If it's my client, I'm on set with the models. And then it's I love it, to be honest. I absolutely love it that way.
Sounds like a good time. I feel like I would love it that way too.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Is there something that agencies fix that people don't talk about a lot?
Well, maybe we'll talk about the marketing side of that, what agencies fix. So I have a really big saying at Be Wild Marketing with the girls who work for me. And sometimes it can be chaotic and it can be frustrating and it can be unorganized and it's all over the place. And when my girls call me sometimes frustrated, they're like, oh, this client's like all over the place. And I'm like, that's why we're hired. We don't get hired if somebody's like, we have a full-fledged marketing team and we're doing great. We're amazing. We're so organized. We know everything. We have that process down. So we step in when that's actually not happening. They don't have a good team. They don't know what they're doing. They're not organized. They don't want their attention on that. So we actually go in and it should be chaotic. I love chaos because we can control that chaos.
Is there somewhere where when you first meet a brand where you see regularly that they're over underspending?
Yeah. Most clients are underspending. I think very rarely do clients overspend. I think most of our battle is explaining to people why they should invest. Why are you investing in your ads? Why are you investing in your content? Why are you investing in this? That is sometimes the hardest conversations that you have, and that you have to, it's getting over those objections of sales. Overspending, I don't believe in overspending. I am more of a cautious person myself. So if I recommend a certain campaign, or I recommend that we go a certain way, I'm not just going to blow the budget to blow the budget. I like to do things cautiously. I like to have the KPIs at the end of it. I like to test it. And I like to see where we're going before we just throw a whack ton of money at it.
How do you know when you're immediately aligned with someone who calls you, who wants to work with you?
We love working with smaller teams. That's where our bread and butter is. I like to say we're a grassroots agency where we want to be integrated as a team member. We do not do well with the just client agency perspective. We can easily do it. That's really great. But for us, I want to be able to have a coffee with you. I want to be able to have a glass of wine at dinner if that's what you want to have. And I want to talk about why it matters, what you're trying to do, what you want out of your business. And if that relationship isn't there, I won't even entertain it. We're so lucky at the point where we can say no. But if there's not that integration where we really feel like we can step in, it's almost like, and some people will argue that this is wrong, but when I step into any marketing for a client, I care as much for your business as what I do for my own. So I want my business to be successful, and I want your business to be successful. And if I don't even have an interest in what your business is doing, I'll say no. We've been approached a lot with certain markets, certain industries, and I don't just farm that out to my team. If I personally don't have an interest in it, we're just not going to take it. You have to have a love and a desire the same way they do to think it's the coolest product ever. Like, this is going to be so cool. Like, this, I love this. Like, we're going to do this. And I want to have that integration with them.
Yeah, that's really good. I know a lot of people in marketing who, I guess they get results, but there's no heart behind it. You can tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love those agencies, by the way. I think that's great. I spent maybe 1 year out of the 7 years of Be Wild being like, we're going to be that agency. We're going to hire the graphic designers, the web. We're going to have multiple social media girls. This is what we're going to do. I was so bent that we would become this massive agency. And then you look back and you're like, sure, we signed this, we signed this, we did this, we're doing this. But when it's out of touch now is when I wasn't loving it actually as much, because I never saw those clients, or I never really was a part of it, or I just didn't feel like I had my own touch on it. So I guess I learned that maybe I don't want to have, if anyone knows marketing in Calgary, like a critical mass here, like a massive company. I want to be smaller based, and I really just want to be in it with you. I love that fight. Like, let's go. I
love it. I think we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
Is that a good time for a break?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's do it.
All
We'll be back.
Do you tell them when you take breaks?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. If you're new to the show, please subscribe on YouTube. Lots of listeners on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. Keep subscribing there. Share it with someone. If you think it's a cool concept, share it with your friends. We want to keep it going. So, yeah, thanks so much. Stay tuned for more Deets.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. And we're back. I do that too.
And we're back.
Yeah.
We're back, baby.
You've said you lead with compassion. You said that to me.
Mm-hmm. I have.
Where did that come from? Why do you lead with compassion?
One, I wouldn't understand leading any other way. Secondly, from past experiences, I think I have been so lucky in my life to have been where I've been, gone through what I've gone through. And I don't know if I'm an anomaly, but I have had some of the best leaders and mentors in my life, and they always led with compassion. And so therefore I lead with compassion. I literally, do you know that saying, treat others the way that you want to be treated? I want to be treated with compassion and understanding and patience. Therefore, as a leader, why would I do the opposite? That doesn't make sense to me.
Have you had leaders that didn't lead that way?
No, I don't think I've had leaders, direct reporting leaders, but I have been in organizations before where I have seen certain things play out or the way that people have been treated. I have been very lucky in my life. I only had one corporate job before I had my own businesses, which is wild to think about.
Wild,
everybody, if you're playing the drinking game. Drink. Am I allowed to say names here?
If you want.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I had an amazing boss at the land developing company who was actually one of Be Wild's clients still. And she was the strongest woman I have ever met outside of my own mother. And she has become like my second mother. And she was this land development company's first employee ever. And she had to hold her ground and be really strong and like a force of nature. And when I started working for her, she didn't treat me any different than what she had to do. So when people pave a path for you, you should also probably enjoy the path that they have paved and really look up to them. And I think we're also stubborn in our own way, but she made sure I sat down at boardrooms with the presidents of the greater building community of Calgary. So when I was in rooms with these men and these other really strong women, she was like, you need to sit, you need to be here, you need to have a voice. That was really important to me. And that was I was 22 in a boardroom with these people and a woman telling you like, no one's gonna carve this out for you. You need to have a seat at the table and you need to have a voice and you better learn fast, girl. I was like, oh my God, where am I? But that really did a lot for me.
Who was it? Did you want to say her name?
Susan.
Shout out Susan.
We love Susan. She's amazing.
I want to ask about your upbringing. You mentioned it to me. I don't know what you want to say. Can you tell me about it a little bit?
Yeah, well, you probably have curiosities. Let's riff. What do you want to know?
I want to know, well, can you tell the audience first?
Yeah. Okay, you're like, this is not the way we do things here. Yeah, so I am adopted. And I was adopted at 7 years old, which is quite later in life. And I was in foster care from age 2 to 7.
Okay, thanks. Now the audience knows.
Now y'all know.
I wanted to know what that taught you about stability and how you carried that forward into running your business.
Yeah. So growing up, I obviously have a very certain past that most people don't know. I was put into foster care with a brother. I had a brother removed. One brother stayed. I had my birth mom and birth family in and out of my life probably up until I was 5. I've seen a lot of loss, a lot of family being torn apart. And then when I was in foster care, I also had foster care siblings. And then when you get adopted, you lose those. So I had a lot of loss in my life up until I was, 6.5, 7 when I got adopted. And then when you get adopted at 7, just for everybody, imagine not knowing your parents or your parents not even knowing you until you're 7. That's a lot of life. I was in grade 1. Imagine just not knowing that, right? I already had 2 sets of families. You go through a lot of that. And when I did get adopted, you realize how important a home is. You realize how important stability is. And you just know how much security will mean to you. Sorry, I got lost thinking about my childhood there for a minute. I was like, that's crazy. That's wild. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, sorry. I got a little lost. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, I've been through a lot. Obviously that's probably why I'm compassionate, right? Like I do lead with a lot of compassion. But I do also lead with a lot of like, you got to buck up and you got to like get tough. And I was raised in a very tough family. So my adoptive family, shout out, hey, love them. Biggest supporters, but also they were the biggest ones where like your circumstances are not an excuse. So you don't know any different, like buck up, get your chin up and like you carry on. I've had a lot of people who might have come from my childhood or my past will use it as an excuse to not do their homework, not do good in life. Like that's a fallback excuse to be like, oh, well, this happened to me. Well, a lot of things happen to a lot of people. And I don't know if I'm just like an anomaly for somebody who is thankful that that actually happened. And I really am quite thankful because I think I do have a lot of empathy. I do have a lot of grit to me. I have a lot of fight in me. Like my parents like to say I like to come out swinging, and I've always liked to come out swinging. Because when you only know that as your childhood, what do you have to do? You can't like cave up and just cry about it. Like you got to get on with the show. And that's how I am as a leader too.
Yeah. I was going to ask that kind of what areas you create stability in a kind of an unstable industry, and then what areas you're firm in.
I'm firm in most things. And I do believe in stability. So I really care about the well-being of all of my staff. I care that they're happy. I care that they love what they're doing. And in my experience of having both companies, I can tell when somebody isn't passionate about what they're doing. And I can tell when somebody's not invested in what they're doing. And I can tell when it's not the best fit. And I also have removed people for the betterment of themselves. So if you aren't excited by your work, if you're not coming in, if you're showing up late, if you're doing all of that, then you're showing to me that this isn't actually where you want to be. And I am very firm on that. Then you need to go. And that is for the betterment of you. That's so that you can do what you're supposed to do and find that passion for yourself. I'm really firm in that. I believe in a stable environment. So if that happens at first, though, I care why. Like, first of all, why? Why are you not showing up? Why are you not looking like you're passionate? And normally in that conversation is when people will come to you and actually tell you the truth. Like, I'm just finding it hard to wake up in the day, or I'm finding it hard to do this. So I do try to create stability in that aspect where we lead with understanding and care and compassion. And then after that, that only goes so far. And if it's a continued thing, then like you just got to go. And I'm very firm on that.
We were talking over break about business partners.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what has happened with you and business partners, or if some of the stuff we just talked about has come into play in those situations?
Yeah, I love this. Okay, this is where I feel good. Yeah.
Okay. You didn't feel good before?
No, I mean, I feel like this, I like this conversation. I hope you cut some of that. Okay, so I don't have any business partners, and I have purposely done that mainly because I'm a control freak. I like to have full control, and that's of success, and that's also of failure. I can handle failure and I can handle success in both ways, and I'm willing to do that. When it comes to business partners, I think you have to look at is what are they bringing to the table that you can't bring to the table? And is there a value there then in having that partner? I have been very lucky where I did have one partner. She's actually my best friend, so she'll know this very well. I wanted to do this and this and this. And then at the end of the day, she kind of decided for herself she didn't want to do this and this and this. And so we came to the table, and it was as easy as a conversation of, I love you and you love me. Is this actually what you want to do? Is this where you want to be? Are you happy doing this? You don't ever have to do something because you love me. I love that you love me, but like if it's not it for you. And I remember she just started crying and she's like, I don't want to do this. I don't. And I was like, fair enough. And it was that easy. It was just that easy. She's like, I'll sign everything over to you. Like, we're good. Let's just like not be business partners anymore. And I have so much respect for the way that she handled that, and have a lot of respect for the way that we handled that. And we're still best friends to this day. And that's been really great. I've had other people in my life who think that they should have a part of my business because they worked for it when it was new or it was coming up. And that was a hard thing for me to navigate as well. And I'm really happy that I didn't have that business partner. I think if they wanted eventually to have equity because they did something that I can't do, or they had so much value that the company would like crash without them, then you should look at that. But for the most part, for me, I'm okay assuming all liability, and I'm okay with the buck ending with me. And I don't think I could have a business partner because I think when it's your baby, and maybe you've experienced this or not, but if all the workload is falling on you, right? So, if you're going to be the one pushing everything and being responsible for everything, and you care more and you're putting in the 18-hour days and you're doing everything, then what do you need a business partner for? Now, some people are different, and I've had this conversation with many business owners, and they like having a business partner. And I think where I miss sometimes having a business partner is that it really does end with me. So sometimes at nighttime when you're like up in the middle of the night, you're like, am I doing everything right? It's you against you. Like, you only know what you know, right? So sometimes it's like, hey, that's a great idea. My mind's like, yeah, that's a great idea, because like, who else is gonna be like, that's a horrible idea, right? So sometimes that is where I do find the value of a business partner, is you can bounce those decisions off of each other and you can keep each other in check and accountable. So if Be Wild doesn't grow or House of Wild doesn't grow, that's my fault. I don't have anybody pushing me other than my responsibility for the models or my responsibility to myself. So that has to be so inherently in you to want to keep pushing for yourself. You have to want better for yourself to keep going, because there's nobody else pushing me at the end of the day.
So when you have those moments where it almost feels like you're alone at the top, do you talk to your industry peers? Do you think of them as competition or?
Great. No, I used to be really negative with that, where I used to look at what other agencies were doing or be jealous of the clients that they were getting. And then I talked to one of my best friends, and he's also a business owner in Calgary. And he was like, why even concern yourself? Why concern yourself with the competition, and why not just be happy for them? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I want all the contracts. I want everything. But then how do you keep leveling up? How do you keep creativity going? You can't have 100% of the market share. So why spend your life looking at what the competition is doing, and why bother with what they're doing? They're going to have their own success, and you should want success for everybody, and you're going to have your own success. So why live here in negativity when you can live over here in positivity? And there's so much opportunity out there. It's not like we have 3 stores in Calgary. We have a lot. We have a lot going on, a lot of opportunities. So I really liked that advice. And ever since that conversation, my mental health has actually gotten better too. I think competition is healthy.
Yeah. I love watching people grow around me in the same industry.
Yeah.
When you see, now that you're established, when you see someone entering the industry, can you tell if they're going to be like a flash in the pan or if they're going to make it long term?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes. Again, I really have this fundamental view that good intentions will lead to good results. I really firmly believe that in my soul. So if I can tell somebody's doing it because they love it, because they're passionate about it, because it's what they've dreamed of, they're normally going to make it, because they're just having so much fun with it. And they just like, you can just tell, you can really tell. And then there's other people who are doing it and you're like, best of luck. Like, we'll see. You got a lot of stepping stones. You got a lot of lessons to come your way, and everybody does. But yeah, I can normally tell.
This might be 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
What is the fastest way a brand can lose trust? But also, what is the fastest way a model can lose trust? Could that be 2 questions, or is that just...
Yeah, I think
one question?
It's great. Let's start with models, because modeling is always, because you're dealing with people. So when we're dealing with models, the easiest way for a model to lose trust is in the way that they show up. So I actually teach this. So I teach this quite a bit. When a brand they choose you, which if you get chosen by a brand to model for them, like, congratulations. They probably went through 100 different people who also wanted that. So if they choose you, again, to me, you're responsible for what that brand is conveying. So how do you show up? Do you pack your model bag accordingly? Do you know how to hit your poses? Did you hydrate the night before? Do you have a good personality? I don't think any model should ever go onto a production being like, I'm the star of this show, because there's so many other people who are doing what they love. You have the photographers, the videographers, the people who know lighting, the people who are going to do editing. You're one of a great big production, and everybody is just as valuable and important. Sure, you're the pretty face in front of the camera, but Look at how many other people's dreams are out there. So the minute that you start having that entitlement and that diva personality is the moment that is just, you're going to wreck it for yourself. We're all just out here doing our jobs. That's it. It's an experience. Enjoy it. Calm down. You're fine. I mean, you're not Kendall Jenner. Calm down.
What about for brands? What's the fastest way a brand
For brands,
can lose trust?
yeah, brands lose trust quite easily when you say you're going to do something and you don't. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. So is there a way for either of them? What's the fastest way to rebuild trust? Can it be rebuilt?
I think brands can definitely. I think anybody can rebuild trust. I think it takes time. I don't think look at what happened with Balenciaga a couple years ago, right? They had that whole weird child campaign that they did.
Yeah.
And people were like so outraged. And they're still around, so it didn't ruin them. But do people now think when they think of Balenciaga, they think about that campaign and what went wrong? Mm-hmm. Of course they do, right?
Sometimes people overcompensate to try to build the trust back, and then it just makes it worse for the brands. I think.
Pivot, right? Like a hard pivot. No, it's slow and gradual steps, and we all mess up. So I think people, I don't love cancel culture either. I think people mess up. I think that's a part of the human experience. You're going to do it. We're not always going to land 100% of the time, but you have to be willing. If you mess up, then it's like breaking trust with anybody. It just happens with slow, concise, clear steps, and you keep building it. Think about home building. I'm in the home building industry. That's what I love to market most. And is every home 100%? Is there warranty issues? Did the home builders maybe not handle certain things? No, of course not. Again, we're humans. We all make mistakes. We don't handle things well. But then what do you do on the next house? What do you do on the next experience? How do you try to repair maybe the damage that you did or the lack of trust? I think that shows a lot about who a company is how do you handle that and what do you do to make up for it? Modeling is a little bit different. Sometimes it's a one-shot thing. If you mess up on a brand, they're never going to hire you again. You don't have an opportunity to make up for that. You have yourself, that set, that experience, that time you need to be on. Modeling is more high stakes.
Okay, now we can talk about working for free. What are your opinions on that? You don't think people should work for free? You don't want people to work for free for you either, right?
No. I have always had a very strict rule that no matter what anybody does for me, you will never work for free. I do not believe in people working for free. Exchange, sure. And I want to be gentle on this maybe. You should do a lot of things to build experiences. I do believe in that. If you've never done it before, you should probably say yes. That is how I built a lot of what I've done and the experiences that I've had is I have said yes. So if you've never done it before, you're not the expert in it, you could gain some knowledge from it. I think that you should do it for free. Sure. I think that's really great because I've also noticed with the younger generation is that they don't say yes enough. Like there's one thing to say yes and being taken advantage of. Like if somebody's like, you were really great at that, so I'm going to keep asking you to do this for free. Well, like no, because there's value in it. But for me, if anybody's like, oh, I'll just do that for you. It's like, I don't want you to just do it for me. I want to pay you to do it because I want you to be accountable. And how can I make sure that you're accountable for me and the product that you're giving me is to pay for it, right? So that's how I keep control of things. There's an expectation. I want you to do this. I want to pay you to do this. I want the outcome to be this. And if it's not this, because I paid you for it, I can come back and say, this isn't the outcome. How do you do that when somebody's done it for free?
So when someone is coming into the modeling industry now, what do you want them to know early?
Dig in. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't all come overnight either. I don't know where this like coming overnight stuff came from, but I need models to like calm down, attempt, give it a try, work for it. Not everything's just like handed over to you. But yeah, dig in. And like there's going to be rejection. We just let we're very strict at the modeling agency and we don't renew contracts. If you're not developing your portfolio, you're not applying for jobs, you don't get to keep your spot on the roster. We have very limited spots. We only manage 250 to 300 models. And if you're not actively doing something, we don't need to both waste our times here, right? And so when he left, he said, I just got so much rejection and I couldn't handle it. And it's like, yeah, that's life. Life is a lot of rejection, right? Modeling is a lot of rejection. But it comes down to easy as this. I did a photo shoot for a Toronto company on Tuesday, and we looked at the modeling package, and it's not like we're sitting there being like, this one's fat, this one's like, I'm like, no, that's not what we do in conversations. This is how simple it was. It was a diverse student housing project, and they wanted diversity. And all their top favorite female models that they picked were Caucasian brunette models. That's not going to work. So from a marketing perspective, my job is to say, you can't just have white Caucasian brunette models on a set when you're trying to go out into like Asian markets or like Philippines or something. Like, you have to show that diversity. So what we did then is you go into the package and it goes, okay, well, could she model with this one, with this one? Okay, well, he's 6'4", but this model's 5'2". So what is that going to look like in production? People don't get cut because you're not good enough. You got cut or not chosen because when we put this all together and we looked at it from an overview landscape, this is just what made sense. So I think models need to understand too, like, you're not being rejected because they didn't like you, because you weren't good enough, because you're not established enough. It's because it just didn't work for that certain project. So models just need to relax a little bit,
So you talked earlier about seeing the changes you've seen. What do you think the industry still needs to get better at?
Paying.
Okay.
Models are talent unlike anything. And this is marketing, and this is also the modeling side of things. But you have to be willing to pay what people are worth. And rates actually used to be higher, believe it or not. Like 7 years ago, your day rate could be anywhere from $2,500, $3,000, $4,000. And now people want models. Sometimes they ask for models below minimum wage. And it's like, in what world? Like, do you show up for free? And I've had those rough conversations, and that's my job as an agency, is to advocate for us. It's to advocate for the models, and it's to make sure that there's a worth. And we will say no to jobs. If it is below the par of what we deem acceptable for the models to work at, we will say no. And it is worthwhile for us because we want our models to, like, people don't understand what models go through. So our prep when we're modeling starts way before we even go out onto a shoot day. We pack certain things in our modeling bag, depending if hair and makeup are involved and we have a wardrobe on set, or if we don't, then we might have to go and purchase stuff. We have to do our hair. We have to do our makeup. We have to drive there. We take time off of work because all production is between Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. So you can't make a full-time career out of modeling in Calgary. It's just not possible. So somebody's probably taking time off school. They're probably taking time off of work. If we have child models, the parent and the child has together. So now it's time off of work and school. Then, like, there's just so much that goes into it. So when people are like, well, we want to use content for ads, normally, right? You're hiring models because you want more revenue, because you want more content, because you want your ads to deliver better, because you want your social media to do better, and you want to use a model because a model knows how to go, hi, this is so great. I love this product. You too want this product, right? But we want to pay you below minimum wage so that we can make more profit and you can use this content and collateral for the next 2 to 3 years, but they don't want to pay for it. And it's like almost like knocking your head against a wall, and it goes, but I'm at the forefront of this campaign and you need this campaign so your business can do better, but you don't want to invest in this. And that's always so wild to me, and not in a good way.
Wild. Do you think that's happening because more people are willing to do it, or the internet, AI? What is...
I don't think AI, but I do think, again, it comes down to people not understanding your value or your worth, which is why that whole influencer thing we talked about before, when influencers first came on and they're willing to do it for an exchange, or they're willing, you send me some product and I'll just do it for you for free.
Send me some KFC.
Send me a gift certificate for some KFC and I'll post about it, right?
Yeah.
You bring the value down. And so I think it is about the industry working together, whether it's in the marketing side of it or whether it's in the modeling side of it, of being like, this is the worth and this is why it's the worth. And this is what you get. So it's a lot about educating, but also with modeling, mainly modeling, it's really hard. Clients don't seem to respect the agency and they'll try to skirt around and they'll like just go directly to like the model sometimes. And it's like, that's not the way it works because they want a deal or they want a discount. And then the models look at it and they get flustered and scared because they want the extra money, because they want to be in front of that campaign. So it's like we need to work together more in this industry and we need to set the rates at a certain amount that they are. And we just need to like abide by that. And that's been really, really hard in this industry.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot from like influencer types that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Same issue.
Yeah.
Models in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
What about on the brand side of things? If someone, if a brand was starting from scratch, same thing that I asked about in the models, what advice would you give to the brand starting from scratch to make sure they do early on?
Mm-hmm. I think anything. So first of all, anything that I recommend a brand to do is not something that I haven't done myself as a business owner. I have invested in building a website. I have invested in graphic design. I have invested in my logos. I have invested in photo shoots. Like you have to be willing to invest in your business. And have you ever heard of that? You can like do it, you can do it fast or cheap, or you can do it good.
Yeah.
I understand everybody has a budget. And if you go to a very big company, and I'll do like a little case study here. If you use a very big marketing agency, they're going to charge you $50,000 for a website. Does everybody have $50,000 to put into a website?
Definitely not.
No, that's wild. Or you can find somebody who can maybe do it for a fraction of the cost. And so like a website can be like $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000. Of course, is it going to be as fancy as a $50,000 website? No. But like, do you need a $50,000 website when you're first starting? No. So think about like what you can do in incremental baby steps. You know that your logo is going to be important. You know that building a brand is probably going to be one of your more important assets. So start with those little things. Of course, you need a website, right? You don't need a $50,000 website to get started. So you need to kind of start on those things. Start your social. Like, I think everybody gets so wrapped up in like everything needs to be perfect. And I'm like that too. I'm like, it has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. Until you have something and then you want to launch hard and you want to launch fast. So just get it done, right? Make sure it's good, make sure it's presentable. But if you're waiting on perfection, I can promise you perfection is just going to tie you up and hold you up. So just get going and get started in the best way that you can. Does that answer the question?
It really answers the question.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Well, that intimidates a lot of people. People will not start if they have a small business. They just won't start because there's all of these things at once. But
yeah,
get it done.
I think you said something earlier too, like you have to find then people who have done it before. I think we talked about this in your network. Who do you go to? And I said, like, I'll go to like the Susans of my life. And I still call her. If I'm having a really rough time with the businesses, I'll call her and be like, man, this is so hard. And she'll remind me like, this is where you came from. Or if I need advice, because it is just me, right? So sometimes if I need advice, I'm like, this is the way that I'm handling it. I'll go to somebody who I know has completely opposite views from me. And I'm like, what would you do? Right? Because I want to hear it. It might still not be what's best for me, but I do think that you need to start getting a network of like-minded people. And getting yourself into different rooms is going to be the best thing that you could do, because it is just you against you and you want to start a business, but you don't know how to start a business. You don't even know what step one is. So ask. I'm sure like you started this, right? Like it starts from somewhere, either past experience or because you know somebody, but I think we all should build our network. Again, one of my really good friends says this, and I'm more intimidated by this. I'm not necessarily good at this. But he says he keeps finding new rooms to get into. So keep finding new rooms to get into, keep finding new people to talk to. And it doesn't mean that everybody's word is Bible. It means you take what rings true to you and you think on that and you go, how can I implement this? So if you're just starting a business, I mean, I didn't have a business before I had a business. You learn. That's normal. You're supposed to learn.
I love it. I have one final question for you.
Yeah.
Then I want to talk a little bit about some stuff.
Okay.
What do you want House of Wild and Be Wild to be known for long term?
Be Wild Marketing, I want to be known to do good work. Like if you want good, reliable work and you want a team behind you who's going to hold it down with you, I really want that to be Wild. I really want us to have good results. I want us to be fun to work with. I want us to be reliable. And I want people to know that we really, really care. That's important for me. I would love for Be Wild to be known for that. We just do some dope work and we have fun doing it. I like that. House of Wild. I want to be known as an agency, and they call me mother at the agency because I want them to know that they have somebody advocating for them. And in all ways, I want them to know I advocate for them to be better. I want them to know that I advocate for them. And by the way, it's not just me. I have a team behind me too on both sides. So when I say this is my overall dream, but everybody who works for the companies have this exact same passion, but we advocate for them to be better and we advocate for them to show up and we advocate for them to be safe and we build that confidence. I want us to be a really good agency who cares. That would be like we've like been successful. I want people to be proud to be with us.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's all I have for the episode.
Okay. Done.
I just take these off and it ends immediately. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Okay, it's done.
Yeah.